Greetings, Earthlings and humans, and any animals who might be tuning into this broadcast due to the sound of my melodious and fantastic voice, which draws all intelligent beings in. Welcome to the Roseanne Barr Podcast. Oh boy, we have a great show today. We're going to fight, fight, fight with the best of the fighters. Should I just go to a break now, Jake, or introduce our guests?
Just go introduce. I'll edit it and clean it up later. You're doing great.
So you see, my patience is growing.
Okay. Well, we're into the core of the fight right now. In Judaism, it talks about removing 10 layers of negativity before you get to the nourishing kernel of the heart. And I believe we are about to hear from a dear friend of mine who can remove a lot of negative kernels real quick. I'm so proud to have him on. It's our first broadcast since I started doing this podcast. We did a lot of previous podcasts specifically on the Book of Esther, but he's a dear friend. And he's got news for us, and everybody who knows him knows him. And so I'm welcoming first my friend Juan O Savin. Hey, boy.
Hey, Juan.
Hey, kiddo. It's really an important time because people, we talked about Esther and the flip and that moment where everything was going one way and it looked horrible. And then it starts to go the other way. And everything that the enemy had planned for us starts rolling back and turning over on them. And they suffer under their own devices.
Haman gets hung on the gallows he built for Mordecai.
And at the same time, he was intending it to happen after the party that night. And then after the party, he's the one that hung on the gallows. Look at the stuff going on in Georgia with Fannie Willis and all that
I
crowd.
knew it. I knew it was coming.
All over the...
Oh, you cut out one.
Uh-oh.
No, everything they planned to do against us is actually happening against them. They're being exposed. Their financial crimes, their secret deals behind the scenes. It's all coming around right now, and it's just a blast. But
now I've got to keep you on. I've got to keep you in line. You know that, just like Jen has to keep you in line. Now listen,
like I do for you on this podcast.
Yeah, kind of like okay. But I was excited because you told
okay. I got it.
You told me. Let me tell it because you talk too much. Listen, okay. So you told me. Here's how I heard. You said you knew about Tina Peters in Colorado, right? And I said, well, a little bit. I knew she was taking a lot of heat from the Democrats after, the whole election thing, 2020. And anybody who questioned the election, of course, went through a lot of resistance and people who didn't want anyone to ask any questions this time. Of course, in 2016, everybody in the Democrat Party was questioning the election, and it was all over the news for 4 years of Trump's term about the election results. But then once they got in, the first thing they did is say, you can't question elections anymore, which is funny. But anyway, you told me about Tina Peters, and you said this is a pivotal character in this Esther play. And I said, oh, well, we've got to have her on. And that's why I'm so excited. Let's bring on Tina Peters, who is a Gold Star mom.
Thank you, Roseanne. Thank you, Jake. And thank you, Juan. I'm just so grateful to you all because, to get the voice out. And I have been called an Esther, but I've also been called a Joan of Arc. And when people say that, I say, I like the other one. I don't like the way that other one ended. Right. So that's my preference. But, they were acting very suspicious. After the 2020 election, Trump won in our county. So I really didn't suspect anything in our county. I knew that there were things going on across the United States, but not in our county. Our county was predominantly a 60-30 split between Republican, Democrat, and Trump won. It was the April 6, 2021 municipal election. So if they're cheating in the local city council election, they've permeated the whole election process. And when I pulled the results, so I was in charge of 5 divisions. One of them was elections, all elections. And so when I pulled the results that night, I was in disbelief. The Secretary of State and Dominion voting system were coming in to do what they called a trusted build. Isn't it funny how they put such righteous sounding words to something so
we talk about it every week.
I talk about that all the time, Tina. I say, it's all, the language is so key, because like banks that are ripping you off and making you pay exorbitant amounts of interest, they always use the words trust and fidelity.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Right?
Yep, that's good. So everything, as you know, is flip flop. Good is evil, evil is good. That sort of thing. So they were coming in. I'd ask for help, like Juan said, and no one would give me help. And and they were acting very suspicious. So I did the backup. An image is just and the image is on Lindell. I mean, it's on Frank's speech. Anybody that's a cyber person can go on there and download the actual image that I took, the before and after image. When we found out when they found out what we had done, all hell broke loose. Literally, they raided my office. They raided my home, took my husband. And when I say took my husband, I mean they literally took my husband. He was in a nursing home. They went in and had him sign a divorce decree. 1 month later, I found out 1 month before our 35th wedding anniversary. And this is a man I've been with for 35 years. There's no end to what they'll do. But they freaked out. And so all eyes were on Mesa County, all eyes on what went on. And then I was arrested. I was thrown in jail. The night I was in jail, my father died. Then I was indicted. But the month before I was indicted, I decided I had to run for the belly of this beast. This is Jenna Griswold, the Secretary of State of Colorado. And I announced on Bannon 2 days after they wouldn't release the J. Alex Halderman report, which was more criminality of proven of these machines. 2 days later, on Valentine's Day, I announced in 2022 I was going to run for Secretary of State. 1 month later, I was indicted with a 10-count felony, and that's what I'm still fighting.
What was the felony and the charges? Just so we know.
So it's interesting that they were very careful. They, meaning I call them all criminals,
Right.
They are a criminal cartel, definitely.
Exactly. And I used to think it was Democrat against Republican and vice versa.
No way.
Now,
Right.
now you know. And as a matter of fact, the commissioners are all Republicans, and
That's
the
right.
DA is a Republican. So it's whoever is swayed by money, power, position, and fear, and
blackmail.
And blackmail, exactly. So whatever they've promised, Merrick Garland's been involved in this from the very beginning, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Good job. I love it.
And so whatever they promised, this DA is so great because he has done everything to go after me. A $500,000 cash bail until we got it reduced. And he let a guy with 26 pounds of fentanyl go on probation. The reason I know this is because my attorney back then, which I believe traded my case, I ended up firing him because he wasn't representing me. He was the one representing the guy with 26 pounds of fentanyl that got probation, but here I have a 10-count felony or a 10-count indictment.
Oh my God. It's like, oh my God. It's just upside down.
It is.
But what were the charges, just so we're clear? It was because you copied the...
No. They were very careful not to put anything in there that would have allowed us to bring out their criminality.
Oh, no evidence, right?
So I am charged with influencing a public servant. So the guy that's sitting there from the Secretary of State's office, that's sitting there deleting 29,000 vital election records. I mean, we're talking access, audit, adjudication log files, 29,000 of them, which we found in the first report.
Wow.
I'm accused of influencing him. He's sitting there, and then influencing other people. There was a man who said I stole his identity, which will prove that wasn't true. But nothing about breaching. You'll hear on the news that I breached the computer. There's nothing in the indictment like that. And there's on my website, tinapeters.us, there is a magazine that people can download for free from the November issue of Capital Times that that has the indictment in there and some other things in there as well, and my story.
Okay.
Well, the fact is, as with me, their goal, they know that their lawsuits are bullshit and won't stand up in court, but they can abuse the process up to 5, maybe 10 years to
bankrupt you.
make us, the people they've targeted, bankrupt, unable to work with frozen assets.
That's
And
right.
that is their goal, is to destroy anybody who has evidence against them or runs against them or speaks against them. That is the evidence of their criminality, that they did indeed allegedly do what we all allegedly know they allegedly did.
That's right. It's interesting that you say that, Roseanne, because all right. So Eric Coomer, who is Dominion, he's suing Mike Lindell. Interestingly enough, I was subpoenaed for them to take my deposition. The first time they took my deposition, I invoked the fifth 491 times. That's how many questions they actually asked me. 491 questions. And then you could see the guy's neck, like he's so mad. It's like, the veins are popping out. And then they went and whined to the judge. So the judge said I had to answer certain questions. Here's what they wanted to know. Just like what you said, Roseanne, they wanted to know who was funding me.
Oh, yeah. Your sources. They want sources. That's what they're doing, all the journalists too.
Yes. So I said, I don't know. They said, you don't know who's funding you? Who's paying for your legal bills? I said, no. I said, I have a trust set up, a legal fund trust set up, and the money goes in there. A trustee pays it to the attorneys. I said, I don't know. And they said, well, we find it hard to believe that you don't know who's paying. I said, there's a lot of Americans out there that want to save this country. Don't you? And he bristles up and he goes, I'll ask the questions like that. But he didn't like that answer.
They don't care at all about our country or the people in it. That's the last thing they care about. Well, they like their money as long as they can fleece them of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're just heartless criminals.
And
they're terrified too that they're gonna. It's like they're just terrified that anybody's going to be able to expose them. They're sure they've locked it all down, and done everything possible to censor everything that could point to any of their guilt. But
well, Roseanne, let me jump in here. So
it must terrify them. Let
me jump in here. We'll jump forward because a lot of people know this. Okay. So I want to get to the current thing right now.
Yeah.
It just so happens that during this time period when Tina did this snapshot of the innards of the Dominion machine.
Okay, so wait. Juan, hold on. Okay. So what she did was she took a picture.
Right, I need to know this too. Thank you.
So there was an image, which is like a snapshot of the way that the election management system was.
Okay.
Before they did the trusted build, and then another snapshot of the way it was after.
And there was a
Okay.
difference.
Okay.
Okay.
What possessed you
Yeah.
to do that?
Because they'd already told me they were coming in to delete a QR code program. So on the ballots that people, and this was in J. Alex Halderman's report, the Democrat professor that tried to warn the Senate Judiciary Committee back in 2017 that they needed to let both Democrats and Republicans know that these machines were vulnerable. Biden in 2022 on February 12th kept that sealed because that was in the Curling versus Raffensperger case in Georgia.
Right.
And it was so egregious that the judge kept it sealed. Well, just recently that was unsealed. But so that's why I ran for Secretary of State, because I said I'm the only one that can expose this beast. But so they were going to delete this QR code program. Well, I reasoned you can't delete things because if the people were to ask me as an elected official to do an audit of the 2020 or the 2020 election, I wouldn't be able to because we wouldn't have a QR code reader to read those ballots that were done on the ICXs, those image cast machines where you go in. You have to have one for ADA for the disabilities, but we had like 28 of them. So when people go in person and they mark on that tablet what their choices are, it spits out a ballot that has a QR code on it.
And you were obligated by law to protect that for at least 15 months after the election?
25 months in the state of Colorado and 22 months federally. But here's the thing that is really important as this has gone on is that I was fulfilling a federal function by preserving election records. So the supremacy clause, which is the Third Amendment, I think it's the second clause in the Third Amendment in the Constitution, but it says that if I am doing the function of a federal activity as an elected official, then I can't be prosecuted or persecuted for doing that function. So that's to catch you up on what happened. So this image, what it did doing the before and after, and then when the cyber experts compared it, it showed there were 29,000 election records that were deleted, vital election records to cover up their crime.
Right.
There were 36 wireless devices. Now, these are machines that aren't supposed to be connected to the internet. Ours had 36 wireless devices. And then the third report shows that there was software in there that could flip the votes. And in the movie selection code, which is on my website, in the movie selection code, you can watch that movie and you can see how when the ballots go into the tabulator, there's an image. You've heard of ballot images. There's an image taken of that ballot. But then magically, somehow, this algorithm, this magic happens, and a second database is created, like a bookie having two sets of books.
Oh yeah.
And some of those ballots images are transferred over to the second database. But we know, now this is really important, we know they're not the same ballot image because they're missing an identifying what they call .sha file, a SHA file. It's a something hash algorithm. I can't remember hash algorithm.
It's like a watermark, isn't it?
Yes, similar to that. And it's identifying. If you change a picture, the pixels in a picture, it's not going to be the same picture. So, and we know they've changed it. We know because it goes through adjudication differently, which means the machine notices that as a completely different ballot. So they're actually changing the images.
Oh my God.
Okay. But that's what we already know. Now what's getting ready to come out on Friday, and I don't know if Juan wants to, interject here or where you want me to go.
Well, yeah, let me dive in for a second. So overlapping all of this, there was other work going on in other lanes. We actually had people inside and outside the United States who had knowledge of their activities by themselves and other people and wanted to say what they knew, say what their part was, make a deal. And the problem was when you hear what they have to say, even going back over the recordings numerous times, uh, and you see what they're saying, and you compare it with data that we had from elections around the country. You're still looking at it subjectively. We had all sorts of experts around the country, math experts, computer science experts, that came out and said that we had algorithms that we were seeing in elections around the country that allegedly showed that it had to be an artificial, not the real thing, record of the vote because of
Right.
all these various things. It had to be created through algorithms. And you wouldn't have original data looking or behaving like this. So it had to have been altered somehow to end up with these results in counties across the country. And one of the
Yeah.
things, by the way, is we found that counties like Tina's, who still went the side of Trump, did have massive manipulation to try to bring the numbers closer so that in the counties where it went the other way, where an actual flip of the vote would occur, it looked less glaring. Okay. So
Right.
even in locations where, Trump got it, they softened the blow by bringing the numbers
Save a
closer
little
together. There
here.
was still artificiality.
So I've been following the election fraud stuff and Dominion since the beginning. What I understand is there was an adjudication method, which is ballots failed. It went to adjudication. A lot of people don't understand this
Right.
stuff. So let's explain this real quick. If it went to adjudication, somebody, an adjudicator, like in John Wick, could look at the ballot image and say they meant to vote for Joe Biden, right?
Right.
Okay, so is the stuff that you discovered, because I'm just trying to catch up a little bit, is the stuff you discovered part of that adjudication process, or
So
was that a whole other smoking gun
no,
that you
that's
found?
that's good. That's good, Jake. So when we say that they deleted 29,000 election records, some of
Yeah,
those records, besides audit log files, which would have been crucial to do an audit of how you got to the total of in the election,
yeah,
access log files, who went in and out, and what functions they performed and when, and then the adjudication log files. So if you're talking about a ballot image
right,
that has been changed, and then
Mhm.
it goes to adjudication, and it's been changed from its original, it no longer is what the ballot actually said.
Yeah.
right,
So I don't care if you have the machine adjudicating it, or you have
Right.
a Democrat and Republican team adjudicating it. They're going to come up with whatever that, because they're looking at an image. They're
right,
looking at an image on a screen. They're not looking at the actual ballot. And if that
right,
image has been changed to something else, that's what they're seeing. And that's
right.
what's so important. And that's one of the ways they cheat.
And I want to talk about that because a lot of people, we all talk election fraud, but
Allegedly.
nobody understands
No, we have the proof.
how it happened. We should really explain to people, because we all know, but a lot of people listening to this podcast don't really know exactly how the fraud happened. We know about the toilet
Right.
breakdown and stuff. But so what you found, the image that you captured, is this a smoking gun that we've been waiting for?
So this has been out there, but because
Right.
there haven't been enough shows like yours and others where we've been yelling it out. I mean, I think most people know that the election was stolen by now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
I
I
haven't
would
been
hope so.
called an election conspiracy person from for at least a year and a half, because
Wow.
out there, the proof's out there. They're not even
I
denying
think
it
you're
anymore.
an alleged conspiracy theory person. I don't think
Allegedly,
you're a
she
real
is.
conspiracy. You're allegedly a conspiracy theory person. You might actually be telling the truth.
It's possible. We don't know. It's all alleged.
Right. So
No, we
here's
know.
the thing. There's so many things in that image. I mean, there's
Right.
thousands of terabytes of information in that image. But what's going to get ready to come out now is there's whistleblowers that have come
Okay.
forward to say exactly how and what to look for and where it is. And
Okay.
that's
Wow.
Yeah, let's
That
talk about this. This
is
is what we need.
that's incredible, though. I mean,
Yeah, let's hear this. Because no offense, Juan, I love the biblical talk, but this is what I want to talk about. This is what we
now
want to
he's
talk about.
getting to a point. I know.
I know
what
he's all about foreplay, but I want to get to the money shot.
Give me a second here, Jake. I'm almost there.
That's what she
The
said.
point is, God told the world before Trump even announced he was running for president through Kim Clement that he had a plan to expose these monsters that was so simple. It was as simple as the stone that was in David's sling.
Right.
Just a simple stone, a simple plan. It was so simple, it was brilliant. Only God could have thought of it. Who would have thought you could go out and kill Goliath with one little stone? It's this amazing story. Now, Tina, she's out there in the plain in Mesa, halfway down the mountain there in Colorado. She's a Gold Star mom. Her son died in service to the country, and
Sorry to hear that.
so
While I was
she's kind
running
of a
for office.
stone. She's a golden stone. By the way,
While you were running for office?
Yes.
Oh
I'm
my
sorry to
God.
hear that.
and let me just add this. In the scripture, Peter, Christ said, "On this rock I will build my church." What's Peter in the Bible? What's that represent? The stone, the rock. So Tina Peters is like a rock, okay? There is some symbology here that I don't think we want
I
to
like
race
that
past.
you're
I want you
going
to think
for
about
it.
this
I
for a
like
second.
where you're going.
I
She
like
is a
it too. I
golden
love it.
BB. They never saw her coming. It was so
No.
simple for all the machines, all the attorneys, hundreds of millions of dollars spent to conceal and to obfuscate all of the various mechanisms, the drop boxes, everybody involved, stopping the media, causing a problem where the population couldn't even go, vote in persons allegedly.
Right.
All these various things, and yet here's the key to what happened with Tina. We had these people that told us what they did, told us how they did it. Some inside the country, a number of them outside of the United States of America, non-U.S. citizens, and they told us exactly what they did. But here's the problem in legal terms.
Yeah, they did.
We didn't have the body of the evidence. We didn't have the corpus delicti. So we
Right.
could look at all the other stuff subjectively, but we didn't have something to put on. In fact, when you're talking about images, photographs, that's not the original ballot. They take a picture of the ballot, and the original gets filed away somewhere, gets lost, gets destroyed, whatever. All you have is an image, and you can manipulate a photographic image. You can
Correct.
manipulate a computer image.
Okay, let me say something, Juan, just so people don't get confused, because we've
Yes.
talked
Yeah.
about doing a before and after image.
Mhm.
That's not the same as the image of the ballot. So the image of the EMS, which is the election management system, that is the computer that has all the programming, the vendor computer, whether it's Hart InterCivic, Dominion, all of them are on a Smartmatic base, and
Right.
everybody's gonna know that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
That's like the backup on your computer, just a backup copy of what's in the computer.
right,
Right.
but you can't change that. It cannot.
No.
That image cannot be changed. It's static. So that's
Right.
why it's admissible into court. So the before and after image is a picture of the election management system. Now, what Juan is talking about is the image, the picture of the actual each ballot that goes through. So that's two different things, and so they don't expect people to go actually get the ballots and count them, because they've got these machines that are supposedly doing that for
Right.
them. So that's why we have to get rid of the machines, because the machines are actually changing the people's vote.
Well, Ma, we've been traveling a lot and doing this podcast and kicking just general ass. And I got to say, last night, Home Chef sent us one of their prepared meals that we actually prepared and cooked ourselves. And we didn't have time to go to the store. So this kind of was really I don't know, kind of the perfect sponsor for this week. What did you think about the food?
Well, it's just such a great idea too for busy people, or small families, or single people, or people that don't have a lot of time to do a lot of prep work, to do a lot of shopping, but want to eat good, not just slap together a ham sandwich at 2 a.m. This is just great. It's just great. You get everything in the ingredients. And what we had last night was the sweet and savory butternut squash risotto with candied walnuts, which that's pretty fancy cooking.
They also have like oven ready stuff. You just literally turn it on, put the oven. You don't have to pre-portion or measure or do any of that fancy cooking. And they even have microwave ready meals. So they've covered the entire gamut of preparing a meal from start to finish without having to go to the store and blow $900 on eggs because it's Biden's economy.
Well, for a limited time, Home Chef is offering my listeners 18 free meals plus free shipping on your first box and free dessert for a lifetime, if you can believe that, at homechef.com/Roseanne. That's homechef.com/Roseanne for 18 free meals and free dessert for life. Homechef.com/Roseanne. And you must be an active subscriber to receive your free dessert.
Well, they say the average person with this will save about $86 a month on groceries just alone. So that's
fantastic.
That comes in really handy when we're all squeezed. So thank you.
That isn't even mentioning the time and effort for people that are tired working 3 jobs in Biden's economy.
Well, Ma, it's time to talk about Freedom Chat. We love these people because they get us. They say that, they're aware of the satanic pedo pirate Ponzi, whatever you do. Those people.
Pedo Ponzi pirates
that hack our phones and send stuff to the FBI and yada, yada. It's a very scary time to be a patriot. And so we partnered with Freedom Chat because they have a patriot-friendly messaging app. It can't be hacked. It can't be stolen. You can disable your camera and prevent screen capping. Screenshotting. I call it screen capping because I'm old. They want me to say screenshotting. It prevents screenshotting.
Yeah. Isn't that great? I mean, for all the things that they're doing to try to break down our civil rights as, people who, have the right to congregate and speak freely to our fellow patriots over the people's owned airwaves.
Here's another thing that I really love. Not just that you can prevent screenshotting, but you can actually disable your camera and microphone while you're sending messages on this app. It gives you such control, and it's outsmarting the people that might be spying on you.
We're under an onslaught, and we have to fight.
Absolutely.
So it's good. So go download the app right now by scanning the QR code on your screen or by visiting freedomchat.com/bar and take back your right to privacy. I mean, we have rights to privacy.
Absolutely. And Freedom Chat, we talked about them just last week and the week before, and they want us to mention that they're constantly updating. I mean, they're going to be updating new things weekly. So it's not going to be tech that's old. They're going to be ahead of it. So I think this company is going to be huge. I'm excited that they partnered with us this early, and, download the app. They stay on top of it. You stay on top of it. Protect your conversation. And one last thing, it is end-to-end encryption. So if you do send a message, just rest assured that the only person on the other end that you intended to send that message to can read it. It will decrypt, I guess is what the nerd say. So
that's pretty awesome.
It's pretty awesome. So check them out.
Good God. How outraged were you? Can I just ask you a personal question? How outraged and sad, or whatever you were, I want to know about it, were you running for office and hearing that your son, who died defending our right to vote, how shocked were you? Did all that go on? It must have gone on in your mind.
Well, November 16th of 2021, after all this came out that I'd made an image, and they started all freaking out because no one had seen inside the machines before. And so these people had gotten very cocky about, they just never ever thought they would be found out. And here all of a
Right.
sudden, a person who didn't like to be the center of attention or the limelight or speak in front of people or any of that, all of a sudden in a small town does this thing that freaks them out. Well, November 16th, they raided my office. I mean, no, they raided
Oh
my
my
office.
God.
They raided my office in August. November 16th, in addressing your question about my son, they a pre-dawn raid on my home. November 16th, 2021, and they took my son's stuff. Some were pictures of his body after the accident, graphic pictures that I was never even able to obviously see. His that thick um, 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 report, accident report, all this stuff, and they just shuffled it around like it was nothing. Took every single electronic device I've ever owned. They were there 6 hours, and I still don't have them back. And then, of course, the next day they divorced me from my husband. So these people are, and then a few months later, they put me in jail. They tried to frame me for a couple misdemeanors that I didn't commit. I was found guilty of those. Handcuffed me, arrested me in a coffee shop in front of 5 other. So this is what they do. And this is, and they do, you're right. They try to drain you dry of your resources. They try to get you to back down. But Roseanne, this has made me, they picked the wrong person to do this, because, like Laura Logan said to me, she says, Tina, what if it costs you your life? And I said, then I'll be with my son. They don't understand somebody that can't be paid off, that
No,
has
they
no
don't.
fear. And the more they do to me, the more fearless I become. And it's God. I know that people have seen these big angels next to me, wherever I go. Cause I've told people, I say, because I had 24/7 security after the image was after they found out what I did. The FBI was on their way to get me. I found out from these bodyguards later on. They said, do you understand why we were trying to get you out of there so fast? And I said, no. They said, because the FBI was coming to get you right then at the symposium.
Jeez.
So I was in an undisclosed location. A week later, my hotel room was physically broken into. I mean, we're talking the door was bent out. Thank God I wasn't in there. I guess they were probably looking for the image. And then from then on out, I had 24/7 round the clock armed security until the first report came out. But when they do this stuff to you, that you're over the target and you can't turn back. You can't. And I've had them ask me. I've had them try to get me to do that. We could make this all go away. What would I have to do? Oh, just say you were mistaken or that you lied. I said, but I don't lie. They said, everybody lies. I said, well, I don't. And so yeah, so they've taken everything from me. So I'm a danger. But Jenna Griswold said I'm a dangerous woman back when I was running against her. I said, you're damn right, I'm a dangerous woman. So
I
Actually,
gotta
they
ask
haven't
you.
taken
I
everything
gotta
from you.
ask
The
you.
things
No,
that you've kept, are your integrity and your character, your um, a mom that can raise a son like yours to do the things that he did, things that aren't public. That says a lot about you, and they can't take that from you. They can take things in the physical world. They can't take who you are away from you. They can try to damage it, but that's not going to happen. Let me just add one quick thing.
they cannot take integrity. 1 minute. What was your son's?
Yeah.
What is your son's name?
Remington Jordan Peters, and I've seen him.
Like
So they believe that he was murdered, that he had a double parachute failure, which is impossible. He had over 900 jumps. He jumped off every major high rise in San Diego. He jumped off of wingsuited off of mountains in Switzerland. He taught the leapfrogs, the Navy elite leapfrogs, how to wingsuit. He base jumped. He did every kind of extreme sport. He was shot at in Afghanistan, Iraq. I mean, and to die, but he was involved in anti-human trafficking. And he couldn't tell me everything, but afterwards, after he died, I went to the person who actually was helping fund these guys. There were SEALs and there were Texas Rangers. And I said, I want to continue what my son was doing. And he says, do you know what your son was doing? And I said, well, if you mean taking justice to the traffickers instead of bringing them to justice, yes, I know what he was doing. So he had told me that that there were things he could not tell me to protect me, that they would kill me. And so but I've seen him. I've had miraculous things happen. I was telling Juan about one of those things today. They're still there. They're in the cloud of witnesses, and they are cheering us on and helping us here.
I feel it
Yeah.
too. I really do feel so many that went on before us that they took out of here, but they didn't really take them out because they're like, no, we're even stronger on this side and we're with you. I really feel that.
That's what he said. That's what he said too.
Really?
He said that where he is now, that there are no limitations. My son hated limitations. He hated, if you told him something couldn't be done, he would be busy showing you how to do it.
What a
He was so,
person.
yeah, he was an amazing man. And this right here, this is a trident, and I lost. So this right here, the one this is a replacement. The one I had before had a diamond that he had found outside that I'd lost, a diamond
Wow.
that I'd lost. It was there for 4 months, and I still have the his fingers in a text saying, "You recognize this?" So after he died, I had it put into a navy trident, a gold trident. Well, I had to go. You have to have a bail bondsman when you're accused of a crime, and my bail bondsman died. And so immediately I had to leave Denver, drive overnight to go and get a new bail bondsman, pay do the switch, and come back to Denver. It's 6 hours each way. And somehow I lost the original one. So a
Oh,
kind, sweet. You guys are my family. I have no family left. You patriots, you people, Roseanne, Juan, Jake. I mean, that's you are my family now. I'm sitting in a motorhome in someone's yard. They are my family, but someone actually knew how much that meant to me because I haven't had it for months, and they went and made a duplicate for me. So, because I keep that next to my heart. It means a lot. Yeah.
So Tina, what's breaking
can't
Friday?
I can't even imagine your core strength, and I'm standing in awe of it. I love you.
I love you, Roseanne. Thank you. You know what God leads you to, He'll see you through. And
Yeah,
I always say that all I want to hear at the end of my life is well done, good and faithful servant. And one day God said to me, He says, you always say that. He says, I want you to read that whole verse. And the rest of the verse says that because you've been faithful in small things, I will give you charge over many. And so, that's the thing is
wow,
they don't have to feel like they have to do what we're doing or, just even the smallest thing. If you're called to do it, just be faithful and do it.
that's right. Well, Juan, I want you to jump in here because you said this is this is very timely breaking news that's coming
Yeah.
up that's going to blow everybody's mind. So I want you to explain that context for us.
Yep. Friday.
Well, and this will be
Thursday.
broadcast on Thursday for you.
Yeah,
And what you're going to find out about, and I don't want to take the wind out of some of the people's sails involved here, other than we're close enough that you're going to understand it. We had to have the actual body of the evidence, the corpus delicti, to do comparative analysis. What Tina did was pivotal. Even though we had people, you could have a crazy person say that they killed somebody or did some crime.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, how do you know they're not just nuts? Where's
Right.
the dead body? Where's the evidence? So we had people that said that they did certain things that the work to flip the election various places. We could see evidence of manipulation out across the country, alleged manipulation. But all the experts saying that there's algorithms, there's evidence of all different types. But we didn't have the hard evidence. And of course, what Tina's talking about in those images that can't be changed is the way that the information's the programs that the computers the machine is designed to process information through, uh, uh, and so what happened here with her information, we were able to go back and compare it to what these people said they did, and to verify it, we have both ends of what was going on here. We have the hard evidence at the county level, at the machine level, and we have the people that said, "Yeah, and we did it, and here's how we did it." Now, part of what's going to have to come out, and it won't be in the stuff that comes out right now, but we have it. We know that the machines were connected to the internet, even though they said they weren't.
Yeah.
We have lots of analysis showing that.
Okay.
In fact, the other day when the internet was down with phones and things like that, one of the interesting comments from somebody was, "Well, I guess one of the officials, I guess we aren't going to be able to have the election if we're going to have internet problems. It'll stop the election." Well, if the machines aren't connected to the internet, what do you care? You can't have the election if the internet's down. That doesn't make sense.
They don't even
But we
get
have the
that.
return route.
I want this. Oh, sorry. I want the smoking gun stuff though. So they were connected to the internet.
The
right?
smoking
You can
gun.
prove that now?
Yeah, but
let's
that's not the main thing here right now. The thing
Okay.
that people need to take from this conversation today is that with what Tina has, it's this golden BB, this one stone, this one thing that with that evidence out of the machines, remember, nobody else around the country, with all the court cases and everything else, we weren't getting to get access to the machine. They said that it's proprietary information.
Right.
We
And they
can't
wouldn't
get in
let us
there to
audit
see what's
it.
going on. But we have a before and an after.
Well, Ma, the Wellness Center is back, and we love them. We've been slinging these medical emergency kits since the beginning. We've helped a lot of people, and I couldn't,
including ourselves, because it's so smart. It's just an idea whose time is here, and it's very, very smart.
Absolutely. And you're not going to really find, as things get scarier and scarier. I mean, we always push this stuff on the show. We're not trying to scare the shit out of you, but you should be smart. And with prescription drugs really kind of being made in China, right? A lot of them. There's this risk that the drugs you rely on to stay alive, if things got bad enough, you could actually be cut off from your drugs. We always talk about water and cell phones, like all that stuff's scary, but nobody really talks about prescription drugs or medicine because it's something we take for granted. We go, "Oh, call my doctor." Well, that might not be possible. So getting these medical emergency kits, just having them, just store it in your closet, whatever you want. It's got life-saving medicine, guidebooks. It helps you. We talk about it every week. It's just something, just get it and store it. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't, really.
Yeah, better safe than sorry, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ordering your kit is simple. Go to twc.health/RB and use code RB to purchase your kit with $30 off and free shipping. Once you've paid, complete the intake form and your kit will be shipped to your door. No waiting for an expensive doctor's visit where they likely would refuse your request for even one of those scripts. All 8 prescription medications shipped to your door in approximately 2 weeks.
Amazing.
You have exactly what you need when you need it for as low as the cost of a single doctor's visit. Safeguard your health today by going to twc.health/RB and use RB at checkout.
Yeah. And again, I mean, that's such a good point to say it's like the price of a doctor's visit, right? Like if you're worried about the money of buying this, it's just, it pays for itself. It's one doctor's visit and you're covered. So.
And it's the medication that, everybody needed and was denied before.
Right.
So let's not forget that. It's good medicine.
Absolutely. It's things like ivermectin, amoxicillin, there's a Z-Pak, there's this is real medicine that we know works. So we're not selling, it's not snake oil stuff, right?
Right.
So there you go.
So there you go. Do it.
Well, Ma, done with debt. Something we talk about pretty much
Yep.
every week. And because, we talk about things only we care about, which is, prepping for the satanic global elite pedophile Ponzi pirates ruining our lives and throwing us out in the street. Make sure we have meds and food.
Right. We're prepping for the time where the fight comes home. And of course, we win in the end, but we need to be prepared for that fight, right? Of course, we win in the end, but we need to be prepared for the interim. Right?
Absolutely. And with everything coming at you and the stuff we're battling, the things you can do to prevent adding any more stress or worry to your life are beneficial. Like, this may not be the end of the world to say done with debt, but being in debt can lead to all sorts of problems, issues, neurosis, anxiety, can screw up your finances before you can even get ready to get ready. So, debt is not something to mess around with. So our friends at Done with Debt, they have a lot of experts. You can call them up. You can be in tax debt. You can be in credit card debt. It doesn't matter. You could feel like it's overwhelming. You're not going to get out of debt. Whatever it is, you call them, you explain. They are programmed. They specialize. They have techniques. They will get you out of debt. And
Jake, I always tell you, when you were little, me and your dad, we were very deep in debt, and we went to a program very similar to Done with Debt, and it really did help us. It took a few years, but we paid off all of our debts. They negotiated our debts for us, and without that, I don't know what would have happened. And it's just real. I know about it. I know firsthand that this is a good thing. So here's how easy they make it for you. Go to donewithdebt.com. That's donewithdebt.com. Donewithdebt.com.
And the other cool thing to mention is, a lot of these debt companies, they leave out like, oh yeah, we're going to get you out of debt. And then it's like, you're filing for bankruptcy, or you're now just going to take on a bigger loan, and we've wiped your debt, but now you have a bigger debt and all that stuff. They don't do the bankruptcy route. They don't do the loan route. They actually will help you get out of debt. So visit donewithdebt.com.
I think what I hear Jake saying, though, is what exactly is it? So here's the thing. There is so much data, so many lines of code that they can hide anything in there, and you would never, ever find it. And that's the thing. And that's why it took people that know, that programmed, I'm going to say allegedly, that allegedly programmed those machines to come forward and say, here's where you find it. This is what this means.
Great.
These are the people that actually did the work. These aren't just experts looking externally. These are the people who have said, I did this to manipulate and change the data, and here's how I did it. And when we go inside the machines and look at these programs, with what we have from Tina,
that's what I want.
We can go to, in all those millions of lines of code, we can go right to it and go, oh, here it is. And by the way, it's brilliant the way they've done it.
I want to know how they did it, because we all know there was fraud. We can't. I don't know how we haven't proven it to this. No, there was 100% fraud, but we haven't been able to prove it.
Alleged fraud.
Alleged, you're right. But we haven't been able to prove it, and I'm like, when are we going to prove this today? Because it's obvious when you look at it. We remember the toilet.
No. That's what this is about, Jake. This is that moment. We are changing.
That's what I want to put in the title.
Changing completely. You do not compare the last several years with what you're about to hear now, because we have the people that did it, and we now have the body. We have the evidence in the actual materials that corroborate what they're saying.
And are they willing to testify under oath and all that? We're going to go all the way with this?
We've got them on video, the whole schmear.
That's why this has taken so long, because you have to go through a legal channel. You have they have to be protected, and it has to be done right.
And their families.
That's right, and it has to be done properly. so that it can't be debunked. So that's
Well, and by the way, Tina
Is
and
it
Jake,
going to
listen,
the Supreme
it
Court?
took time. Well,
yes.
hold on. It took time once we had all those pieces to do the actual analysis. We weren't racing to an end. Now, you asked Roseanne about, is this going to court? Yes, the case that they're going to file some of this data
Those
in is Carrie Lake's case out of Arizona. They didn't actually develop the evidence in Carrie Lake's case specifically. This is from the outside. They're dropping in because it's at a convenient moment. But there's other cases that are coming also.
this
This
is
isn't,
dominant.
I compare it to the Anchorage earthquake. When the Anchorage earthquake happened in 64, it was the second strongest earthquake ever recorded in modern times. But what made it so devastating wasn't just that it was a powerful earthquake, it went on for over 4 minutes. It
Yeah.
just kept going. What's about to happen, now that we're bringing this evidence into the public forum, it's just going to keep coming in because it affects so many different cases, including several cases that have already been into the Supreme Court. And they will get the opportunity to revisit this and the pressure from the American people. And I
Does
just
it
want people to
also
understand
affect
when,
the Loy? Juan, does it affect the Loy Brunson thing?
well, we're talking on that, and I had some great conversations over the last few days. And yes, there is an aspect to that. There's a specific relation to even a couple of other cases that I don't want to let out of the bag right now, and I don't want to distract. My
Okay.
key thing right now is this case that the folks are bringing in, uh, and I want to let them have their day in the sun. They've earned every ounce of it, and
Yeah.
I want everybody to remember down the road. Look, we're going to make statues of you, Tina. You got to get your hair right, okay? Make sure you've picked a dress and everything. We're going to make statues of you because you are this amazing heroine in this whole thing. And I believe that America, the people of America, owe you this amazing debt of gratitude. We are your family. And
We
by the
do.
way, on your
We owe
website,
you.
there's a place where people can go. Would you please, everybody here, just go make a contribution that matches who you are, and let Tina know how much you love her. She's got huge legal bills, her personal stuff, her house. She's got all sorts of
They want
attacks
to
going
take
on
my
her.
house
Let her know
too.
that you love her.
They've been trying to take my
Yep.
house.
Tina, I love you. You know, when we talked about you running for Secretary of State and there was somebody else there was another person that was running very hard. He passed away last year, but he agreed to step aside so you could run. We have great people all around you who have really made huge sacrifices, personal sacrifices, but I want to be counted in the right side of this thing out in the future.
Right.
And I told you earlier, Jen and I are going to do some stuff for you in the background. I'd like everybody else here, all of your folks, Roseanne, to be counted to kind of help. This is the heroine of all the people, and I've met so many, and I just love them that are in this fight. But you're so central to what has happened here because nobody else got in there first like you did. We now have other corroborating evidence from other machines. Now we know what's there, and that has these people on the run. But you're the one that is
But I
that
want to
golden
ask
BB that
you,
Kim Clement talked about.
but now let's go back to that minute where you, what what occurred to you to go and
And do
do what
this.
you did and take the pictures?
So I had a run in with Secretary of State anyway. This is before I knew that they stuffed ballot boxes. They did not like when I won the election because I beat out a person that could be manipulated. And Jared Polis, who is the gay governor of Colorado, who has made Colorado a destination spot for transgender mutilation, for killing babies, and he's gay himself or whatever, and actually found his mate under a bridge, a homeless kid, young kid. So
Oh,
this
that's romantic.
Yes, so this is a person who is devoid of any kind of spiritual whatever foundation. But he has been trying to take over in Colorado. There's called the Front Range, and the Rocky Mountains separates this, the Front Range and the Western Slope. So the Western Slope, because there's a lot of ranchers, has been very conservative, but they have been wanting to take over the Western Slope, and my town is the central part. And I kept telling people they're trying to take over. They're trying to take over our elections. And so they harassed me from the very beginning. I was elected in 2018. From 2019, they stuffed the ballot box to make me look like I hadn't emptied the ballot box from the former election for 2020, the presidential primary, and then immediately had a recall. So I had fought myself long before even exposing all this, but I didn't trust them. And that's what made me want to just do a backup to preserve the election records. And it's interesting. I was telling Juan this today. You know how you have like a premonition?
Yeah.
You just know that something. And I remember telling my chief deputy, I said, I don't know why I'm saying this. And this is when we were planning to do the image. Nothing had come out yet. We hadn't done the image or anything. I said, I don't know why I'm saying this, but this is going to change the whole United States and maybe the world. And then I went, I have no idea why I just said that. So, I believe.
Yeah, that's like a God download. That's what I always call it.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a download from God. It just comes in and you say it. You don't
yes.
know why, but it leads to something good to break this
Well,
spell.
but you also had to say it.
I
Did you hear what she just said, Tina or Roseanne? Tina spoke it. It
Yeah,
wasn't just a thought in her mind. I think there was an unction that even though she thought it, she had to say it. That's
I
like a
know.
God thing. It sealed the deal somehow. But anyway,
Yeah, to speak it is the God download.
I believe that everybody has. So I'm a cancer survivor. So I had lung cancer in 2016
Oh man.
before I ran for office in 2017. Then my son was killed in 2017. So in 2016, they removed a part of my lung, about a third of my lung.
Wow.
And I said right then, I said, God, if this is it, I'm okay with it. Because I wasn't going to do chemo and radiation. I'm not judging anyone that does, but that was not for me. And I said, if this is it, I'm okay with it. And I said, but my prayer, and I wagged my finger up to heaven and I said, don't let me leave this earth until I've accomplished everything that you have sent me here to do. And
That's right. Love that.
at that split second, Roseanne, I knew I was going to live and not die. It just was like, it gives me chills even now when I tell you this. I knew at that split second that he had more for me to do. Never expecting I would lose the son, never expecting I would be elected, and never expecting I would expose all this. But I believe that God has a purpose for everyone living in this time, and they need to get close to God so that they can walk in that
That's
plan and in that purpose, right? You know,
absolutely. Especially now
Now,
in the Esther moment. Right, Juan?
yes, that's totally. Look, if ever there's an Esther personalities that are out here, I've met several of them. It's a whole team of you Esther girls,
can I,
Yeah,
and there's something about it where I have seen multiple women in this operation, if you will, that God has. It's not an operation of men; it's an operation of God,
yeah.
and they're somewhere in the flip here because this is all about the kids.
can I tell you?
You have this heart for all the kids. You both of you do. Go ahead.
Can I tell you a vision that I had?
Yeah.
So this was a few years back, and I could see there was this little girl. God took me into this vision, and I could see this pretty little girl. She looked like she was 9 or 10, and she had long blonde hair with little baby blue bow, ribbons in her hair, and she was beckoning us to follow her. And she took us back behind this. It was this beautiful grassy field, and she took us back behind this waterfall and then down into this rock kind of cavern. And in the cavern, there was this pool, and the women were. It was like it was. I recognize it as Esther's preparation pool, and so
Wow.
all the women were in there. Some were sitting on the side, some were in the water, and then on the other end, after a while, and I don't remember exactly how long that was, but the rock opened up, and then there was a procession. So there were like um, um, men in uniform that were standing there as along this road in procession, and we walked out, and I looked, and all of us had become a bride. So we were one bride, and then I lifted up the hem of the wedding gown, and we had cowboy boots. I mean, not cowboy boots. We had combat boots. Combat boots. I was thinking about you, Juan. We had combat
Cowboy boots are combat boots.
we had combat boots on. So, and it said that we were getting ready to go to war. The bride of Christ was getting ready to go to war, but it was a beautiful thing about how we have been prepared, like you just said, for such a time as this. There's many.
For such a time as this that's the key words right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what can we do
Roseanne,
to alert everybody? Because this podcast will air Thursday. Friday is the big drop. What can we look for?
Okay.
Where do we put
I'm
people?
gonna say, can I take a minute to talk about myself? I mean, I love to talk about myself. I just want to tell everybody, and of course I don't know the date. I'll put it in the description when I find it, but I'm gonna be giving a shiur, it's called, but that means class or teaching, about this Purim and what this Purim is about, by satellite from Jerusalem on Purim. So I'm
with you.
gonna keep everybody. I never tell nobody what I do, and people get mad at me, but I'm gonna let you know so you can listen in, because it's so huge. This Purim in the Jubilee year is huge, and of course it has all to do with the strength of women when combined. That's very much a part of the age we're living in, our power combined.
I love that. I would love to tune in. I've always wanted to go to Israel. That has been my dream. And so far,
It's a fantastic, it's a vortex. It's not even, I don't even know why it's on this planet. It's so fantastic. It's beautiful.
so Thursday.
Roseanne, let me just say one thing for you.
I went in Esther's preparatory.
Oh, you
it's called a
did?
mikvah. I did. Yes, I did. What were you saying, Juan?
Well, remember that piece of art that my friend made that you bought and that you wanted to put in your museum? And it's what it is for people that don't know. It's all the women down through time. It's a river of all the women from the Bible and history and that affected our lives. And so it's this beautiful picture with hundreds of different faces of women and children in it. And it's just so unique and so different. I actually had high quality digital copies made of it. And I think what I'd like to do, Roseanne, if it's okay with you, is I'll have them run a copy off for Tina.
Oh,
And
I'd
if you'd
love
sign
her
that
to
for
have
her, I
that.
think
Oh, that
it
would
would
be
be
so great.
wonderful.
That'd be so great,
And
because
one of these
this
days,
is time for the mothers to be in service.
I would love somewhere down the road to add a bunch of you women that I just so admire in this moment in history, in that river of all the faces of the women. And I'll find the right artist somewhere, and we'll
That'd
take
be
one of those high
cool.
resolution
That would be.
copies and add you girls, because this moment in time, it's actually a very solemn thing. Uh, you had a David, and it's the guys, and everybody goes to war, but there's a moment. You know what's so horrible in this fight is the attack on the children. You described it
Yes.
there in Colorado.
Yes.
And
Yes.
God, you know, if you won't protect, if you can't protect the innocent, the vulnerable, the weak,
Yeah.
why would God protect you? I'm talking to
No
the guys
kidding.
out there.
No
And
kidding.
and God now is at this level where it's the women having to do so much of this critical work. We're all being pulled in. And you know, Tina, we have a beautiful friend, likes to stay in the background, but has done unbelievable work to keep us in this fight, has put his fortune on the line to do it, has stepped in so many ways.
Yes.
And so there's guys in there that have done amazing stuff. But there's this final safety for society where the women have had to step forward. And what's beautiful is that in God's plan, he includes everybody in it, and he's included you gals. That Esther moment, all the guys had to go out and do the fight. Mordecai and the men had to do the fight. But if it hadn't been for what Esther did
That's
at
right.
that
And
critical moment,
Rahab
stepping forward,
and
when the
yep,
flip happened, Rahab, yes, there's
Mary.
many moments like that in history. This is one of those moments. Tina, I have all the admiration in the world. You are so genuine, and you are uh, stoic.
Right.
You're this beautiful heroine in this difficult situation, but you're an example, just like Roseanne when she was attacked, an example, and you're not backing down, and you won't back down.
Nope.
Come hell or high water, I'll go into battle with you girls anytime.
Mm-hmm. You'd be smart to do that.
Hey, Ma, guess who bought another ad for us? Our dear friend Mike Lindell, and he wants us to talk about those slippers that we always love to talk about. He's offering the same deal he has. They're keeping it going. $90 off these slippers that are, in my opinion, worth $500 a pair. They're the best shoes I've ever had. You too. And the fact that
Mm-hmm.
you can get them for under 500 is already a deal, but now you're getting $90 off. I think they're originally, I don't even know, like 130, 140, something like that. So you're getting them for cheap.
I'm telling you what, if they'd slap a Ralph Lauren label on these things, they'd go for $1,150. I know they would, and I would buy them.
They're like moccasins. They look like cool ass moccasins. And for people who don't know, it has the My Pillow foam inside. It's also got
the foam.
an impact gel under that, and then it's quality leather and suede. So it's like literally like a My Pillow, soft support around your foot. That's
Encompassing each of your feet. And as we know or don't know, everything starts with the feet when you're a biped. Come on, people.
That's true.
That's why half of you are nuts, because you're walking around in bad shoes all the time, especially the women. That's why the women are insane. They're walking around in bad shoes. Go to mypillow.com/RB or call 800-973-9214. To get the best specials ever, go to mypillow.com/RB or call 800-973-9214 and you get free shipping on your entire order. So call 800-973-9214 or go to mypillow.com/RB.
Love it. And also they're offering 50% off the My Pillow 2.0, and you can get a 6-pack towel set for only $29.98 as well.
One time Mike Tyson bought me a Versace towel as a gift, and it was $2,500. Well, that towel was no damn good when I tried to wipe my hairy legs. These towels that he sells at mypillow.com/RB are 10 times the Versace towel and at 1/1,000,000th of the price.
And they can get your hairy legs, which is quite a testament.
And I'll wear my cowboy boots. I'm not wearing combat boots. These are combat boots.
I love it.
We are in a war, that's for dang sure. We're in a war of information, and we're in a war of the spirit.
We are. We are.
And by the way, the one thing that this week, I think the one thing I want everybody to take away from this is battleships coming into range of the target now and turning sideways. and we're lobbing VW Volkswagen buses and vans and cars and bugs at Mach 3 into the target. And when they hit, they make a great big huge whomp, okay? Because these things are huge. They are going to take out all the strongholds of the enemy. And it's not over with this filing on Thursday and Friday. We have other stuff coming, and the information is real. Now that we have both sides of the equation, and when you hear how they transferred the data, that's going to bring a whole nother level of understanding the people involved, the mechanisms, what they did, the traitors, the treasonous, filthy traitors, the dirty rats that did this. You know, these people who got into power by fraud are responsible for the deaths of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people just in Ukraine, let alone putting us on the brink of all sorts of crises in the Mideast. We have a war off East Africa that we're fighting already. We're in huge drama and conflict that wouldn't be happening if they hadn't got into power through fraud.
That's right.
And we're going to take them out. We're going to get control of the helm of the ship, and we're going to save America.
Great. So what is it with the
just have to have blood, and they have to have war, and they must have blood.
That's right.
It's a new day.
Yep.
And they want the blood on our heads, not theirs.
But it ain't on our heads. It isn't on our heads.
They would.
Tina's proving that. And it's great that the American soul will have a redemption because of Tina Peters. Thank you, Tina.
Thank you, Roseanne. I can't wait to see you. I know we've tried to do that several times, and it will happen.
It will. We'll hang out. We'll have a ball.
I love it. I love it, my friend.
Juan, thank you so much for coming on and arranging this, and for your perspective on everything and your friendship. I really do appreciate you. Thank you for coming on in your initial virgin presentation to my podcast.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. So just real clear, what are we looking for tomorrow?
Yeah,
I just want to get
so
that.
It'll be Thursday. So there's a Supreme Court filing going on Thursday. I'm going to interview Mike Lindell on Thursday night. It'll air on my show Friday morning.
Great.
I have a show.
The show will air Thursday, so the following day we can look for that.
We'll put it in the description.
Yeah, send me all the links.
Let's roll, everybody. It's time. Let's roll.
Let's do it. Let's take these. Let's take them out. I'm ready. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
And please, everybody here, say a prayer. Ask God if you could just give a little something to Tina to help her out through this. I think you want to be counted, and there's a cloud of witnesses watching us. Let's help her out so she can do the fight and have her focus where it's supposed to be.
Take care of our own. Okay? That's what America's really about. We take care of our own.
Thank you.
We take care of our heroes. We don't break them down and ruin them.
Yeah, thank you. It's just my name.us for United States.
Oh, you see.